Let me welcome Executive Vice President of the Science and Product Development, Mark Bartlett.
Wow, some people are, I don't spray very much when I talk, so if you want to come a little closer, you can. Plus, there's a spray guard right here, so you could always hide behind the teleprompter, right? Which I'm required to use for legal purposes, even though I like to kind of wing it a bit. But thank you. You guys are really squeezing the most out of your convention because you're probably tired after listening to all those other sessions, right? So, where are we? We already introduced the topic, right? So there we go, a little bit about me and my family. Lived in the USA since 1993. Came here to do medical research at the National Cancer Institute. So I guess we're getting close to half of my life living in this awesome country. This is my wife, Crystal, and she's also on the front row. Yeah, and we have 8 children. And this is Sydney, who is like her twin brother. They're the youngest, so and then our dog, but yeah, Crystal kind of looks more like my daughter sometimes. That's why I stopped growing a beard. A little bit more about my career, background in biochemistry and biology, and then a master's in biochemistry. I was really interested in plants and photosynthesis and how they create molecules. So who would have known that I would end up here like 40 or 50 years later talking about plant molecules. I did some free radical biology, and then I did a PhD in cancer immunology. And as you can probably tell by now, I'm from Australia, funny accent. In my undergraduate years, I studied zoology, and Australian animals are super interesting, right? I'm especially fascinated by this. Didn't play a big role in the discovery of the platypus, but I was proud of a minor role that I did play amongst the other more famous scientists in that discovery. And you know that I'm not serious, right? Okay, so the presentation is about how to use science to sell. And it's more about how to use science to share Young Living products. And because I'm a scientist, I do realize that I'm kind of wired to be too technical. And my wife is always telling me, don't get too complicated too fast. I get caught up in science and the technicalities. And really, only a small portion of your friends are really going to appreciate science, right? So in many ways, that makes you better at sharing than me because I tend to get too scientific. But we're still sharing some of our products on the basis of the science, right? That's the foundation. So I thought I'd just try to maybe share with you a little bit today how we might do it. Maybe just one approach. And you choose from this what you choose, what works for you. But just some basic advice. So we can't get too technical. We know that stories sell more than facts, right? A list of facts is kind of boring. Our brains are actually hardwired for stories, right? There's ever since, it's kind of like this evolutionary psychology perspective. We've gathered around the fireplace. We learned what was important and what wasn't, what plants to eat, which ones to leave alone, which animals are dangerous. And so it was a survival thing to be able to learn from stories. And that's still how we learn today, right? So if you look at this slide here, this is about smoking and why you shouldn't smoke. And I remember as a teenager in Australia, learning about the facts of smoking and how dangerous it was. We learned from Ollie today that your sense of smell is not going to be very good if you smoke. But there are lots of other reasons, right? So here are some of the graphs. Look at that bar chart there. Oh my gosh. And look at the statistics on morbidity and mortality, right? A peer-reviewed study by Adhikiri et al. In 2008 revealed that the economic burden from smoking includes productivity losses amounting to $96.8 billion annually in the United States, right? So you can list the studies and show the bar graphs. And even though I'm kind of kidding with you here, I can already see some people's eyes glazing over. That's kind of what science does to people if you don't make it exciting and make it a story, right? So check this one out. In Australia, they realized that the science weren't selling. The science wasn't stopping teenagers from smoking. So they had this campaign. This is from an Australian poster from the New South Wales Cancer Council. That's where I lived. Kiss a non-smoker and enjoy the difference. Right? I mean, and this actually made a difference. This did. It was emotion. It wasn't science. I'm sure that a whole bunch of scientists just hung up their lab coats in disgust and kind of walked off the stage. I don't know why it's not working, but now you think about that. Which approach do you remember best? Which approach are you going to remember when you go home tonight or talk to your kids or your friends? Yeah, it's this approach right here, right? It's emotional. And I have actually learned that people connect with stories and emotions more than they connect with facts. That's what they remember. Were you in the general session when I talk about sleep? Right? I try to do it in kind of a fun story way. I got poor Carl Janisek out there in his hat. But I hope you remember that a little more than maybe just a list of facts about this amazing discovery and all of that, and the perivascular space between tissues and the neurovascular connection. Right, so you can make it interesting still, right? Okay, so one thing that really helps me too is that humans, along with stories, try to put a pattern to things. And for me, I try to share a product story that I find will work, something that will guide the story, but it also helps me to put things into a category. So here are some of the genres. Like if you're telling a story, what kind of story is it? Is it a detective story? Is it a love story? Is it an action adventure? I think if you kind of get clear in your mind what kind of product it is, that helps you to tell the right kind of story. So I won't be able to talk about all the products that were launched today, obviously, not much time. But here are some ideas that I have about sort of the product story genres, right? There's maybe the concept of a new innovation product. And an example of that would be Deep Spectra, right? Teleprompter guy's going crazy. I'm sorry. You can stop right there for a minute. Like, I don't follow the script very strongly. So, new innovation. Like, this is such a cool story. That's what a Deep Spectra is. When we launched it last year, I don't know that everyone even knew exactly what it was for. But I hope that you realize that we were doing some very cool innovation at Young Living. Like, when Gary first came with essential oils, I don't think people knew what to do with them. They didn't know exactly what they were for, but he was leading the way. He was blazing the trail. When I first kind of left cancer research and started doing nutrition product research, we were talking about free radical biology, right? Antioxidants and stuff, and nobody knew what they were either. So Deep Spectra, though, we felt like it's time to share with you what we're doing, because if nothing else, even if we don't have a product yet, it's a street cred story for Young Living. I'm with this company that's doing some really cool new stuff in essential oils. Guess what? A lot of the other companies are kind of catching up and they're doing really flashy marketing. They don't have the real deal, but they kind of pretend they do. It's being harder now to differentiate. Now we're doing something really cool, and we'll learn together how to use it. Then there's the differentiated product. It's not necessarily completely new innovation, but examples of that are our collagen product. Inner Boost and Balance as well. It's not like out there in the innovation, but we are differentiating it and we are sort of getting the best of that product for you. So that's one genre. More YL street cred. Did you hear Ollie's talk earlier today? And he was talking about olfactory receptors and 20 million of them, and there are 389 different kinds. And like the fact that Young Living is doing that kind of research, does that kind of make you feel proud to be part of this company? And is that something that you want to share with your friends? Yeah, you're not actually selling a product or even sharing a product, but you're sharing with them how proud you are. And so I kind of call that a street cred story, if you will. There's a product integrity story. That's another different kind of a category. Do you know what I mean by that? Product integrity. It's just a word that I use. It's really about the quality of our products, right? The 3 pillars, it's seed to seal. This is a story about how pure our products are and our oils, right? Free of synthetics. Our oils are free of insecticides and pesticides and herbicides and all of those things. Do you ever find yourself sharing that with your friends? Super important. It's one of the first things I noticed when I came to Young Living is that we had this low tox story. And when you talk about low tox, that's product integrity. We have stretched you a little bit today because we've shared with you that low tox is not just about clean products, but it's about helping your body to detoxify through nutrition or sleep or whatever it might be. So we're extending that low tox story a little bit. But most of our scientists are actually chemists that have been involved in this product integrity story. So that's another way to categorize it. And then there's the current product, new science. That's another cool thing. We've got lots of products at Young Living. And I'm sure that you are used to sharing those products with your friends in a certain way, right? Think of your favorite Young Living product. Can I point to a few people and you can tell me your favorite product at Young Living? I had Deep Relief. And what was yours? Ningxia Red. Okay. So they're two completely different products. They have a certain story. So Ningxia Red, maybe for years we've talked about, first it tastes great, but it's full of color, which means it's full of phytonutrients. And so maybe, then what does it do for you? Why do you take it? Can I ask you? Energy and better sleep. Now, energy is really obvious. When did better sleep come out? That was actually, I think, the result of a study that the team did where we realized, oh my gosh, it's really, maybe we noticed it. Then we did a clinical study and we proved, oh my goodness, it really does help with sleep. So, old product, I've been drinking Ningxia Red for more than 20 years, ever since my beautiful wife used to work at Young Living in product development and brought some of that stuff home. And I'm like, this is better than the juice that I developed for this other company. And I've been drinking it for 20 years. And it was kind of more about energy, but then it became about sleep. So old product, new story. And then more recently, when they sort of talked about the reset, they said, Mark, what would you do to talk about Ningxia as a reset product? You may remember that I actually introduced the idea of the microbiome. Because since Gary launched this product, new science has come out that shows that the microbiome is impacted by the wolfberry. So it's a fantastic detox product. But I don't know that we ever considered it that way. And that's what we actually, our product team is not just for making new products, but we're actually all about appreciating the products that Gary already formulated and finding some science to help you tell more stories about those products. So I hope that this slide helps you to realize that there are different story genres. And to me, it helps me when I think, how am I going to share this? What kind of story is this? Is it a street cred story? Is it a current product, new science story? All right, now my teleprompter guy is going to go crazy because I don't know where I am. Okay, so let's start with Deep Night Essence, okay? Now, what kind of story do you think this lends itself to in all of those? All right, I'll give you some hints there. I think there's some new innovation there. It's slightly differentiated, but other people have sleep products. So it's a product integrity story, definitely seed to seal. And there's some current product or current idea and new science. Who heard of the glymphatic system before today? And the sort of the washing machine of the brain, right? So there is some new innovation here. It came back. All right, so when you're telling the story, I guess it's also important to sort of bring awareness first. Like, is there a reason I should be making a shift to this product? And is there any new science here? These are some of the tools, right? Is there a story? And maybe, do you have a personal experience with this product? And here, again, is what we shared today, right? Maybe your personal experience is now, man, I feel so much better when I have a good night's sleep, but I didn't realize that when I'm in that deep phase of sleep, the slow wave sleep, that I'm actually cleaning my brain. And that is impacting the future health of my brain because it's washing out all of these things. Like, have you heard of amyloid beta before? Anyone? If you do any sort of research in the area of Alzheimer's or dementia, that's one of the sort of the protein pieces that accumulates in the brain. And so the science is showing is washing out that. So again, it's not just about how you feel tomorrow, or how well you can cope with your children or your family or your work or your boss or anything. It's actually about your future brain. So the story shifts a little bit, and I think most of your friends can probably appreciate that. So it's a cool story. Well, what about the actual ingredient story? There's one there. So you remember it's got spearmint in it. Did you know that there are 300 different cultivars of spearmint that have been identified? Isn't that crazy? So we use the ones at Young Living that are the oiliest because we are interested in oil and aromatics. And so we use certain cultivars that are really good that way. But on the other end of the spectrum, there are plants, spearmint plants, that don't have much oil in them, but they've got a lot of polyphenols. And scientists looked at that and said, this is so interesting. These high polyphenols seem to be very good as they studied them for sleep and focus. And so that's what we've used in this Deep Night Essence. Now, there's another sort of key area there too. You can put the name of an ingredient on the label, on the bottle, but do you think the dose matters? You bet it does. It really does matter. So we need to know that we've got the amount in the product that was shown in the clinical studies to make a difference in terms of focus and sleep, and we certainly do here. Now, you have your friends and you have a connection to spearmint oil. So we've included some spearmint oil in the product as well. So that's how we formulate things to sort of help you appreciate that connection. And you have a connection to lavender, don't you? And we know what that's for. Great to have in the product. All right. So we learned today about sleeping and detoxing, right? And I think I already talked about how we make that personal. Yes? Yes. So yeah, green tea itself has caffeine in it. But green tea also has polyphenols in it. So if you do an extract without the caffeine and have polyphenols, it's also good. But also, this is something that maybe is less known, green tea has a molecule in it, it's an amino acid called theanine. And theanine has been well studied for focus and for sleep as well. So that's the green tea extract that we have in this product. Good, great question. I'm not sure. I don't know all of our products super well just yet, but it might be. If it's on the label, it probably came from green tea. Yeah. All right, so, okay, let's go see what the next one is. Okay, let's look at inner boost and balance, right? What kind of story do you think this one is? What genre? Is it like super innovative? It is in some ways. Is it differentiated product? Do other people have multivitamin type products that you can put in a sachet or eat in a gummy? Yes. So we need to differentiate it somehow, right? Is there a product integrity story? I can tell you right now there nearly always is with Young Living, right? Because we are so careful about what we are sourcing. So let's look at some examples here, right? Is there a story in the ingredients? Is there any new science of supplementation that might be interesting to tell as a story for your friends? True stories, of course. Is there any personal experience? So let's look first at the 4 ingredients that come from nature. You saw this in the general session, right? I'm going to zero in, I think, on the quinoa. This is so interesting. These are all of the natural B vitamins in the quinoa. Now, do you guys like natural or synthetic? I'm just asking. You really do like natural, right? And, I'm not maybe quite as strong as you are on that thought because I'm kind of looking things as a scientist, but I do agree if you can get it natural anytime, it's way better. Like we would never use a synthetic vitamin E, and, wherever possible, we'll use a natural source. Now, do I trigger any of you if I say folic acid versus folate? Right, okay, so what do you prefer? Folate. There's kind of a dirty little secret with folate versus folic acid. And I don't know if you knew this, but folate is very labile. That's what the word that chemists use to say easily destroyed or broken down or lost. And so even though I know that you prefer folate, if you create a supplement with folate in it, you really have to watch the shelf life of the folate because it drops very quickly. And if you want to take that supplement because you want the folate and it's not there, that's very disappointing, right? Well, here's what's really cool. Here's a story about this quinoa. The quinoa is a natural source of these B vitamins, including folate, the natural form that you get from plants. But because it's complex in the plant, in the extract, it keeps it stable, which is really nice. Let me share another thing with you about that folate to sort of maybe help you make a connection. If you taste, has anyone tasted Inner Boost and Balance yet? All right, what do you think? You like it? Okay, it's refreshing. I got to tell you, some of our marketers were kind of disappointed. They said, oh, it doesn't taste great. It's kind of got this nutty note that I'm not really loving. Let me tell you, to make a supplement and make it into a drink is extremely difficult. B vitamins usually taste kind of very bitter, sometimes metallic. So does obviously iron and other things. How do you make it into this refreshing drink without it tasting really bad? The quinoa is actually one good way because it is a natural ingredient, but it does have a nutty kind of a robust flavor. I actually really like it. It's a very kind of robust, rounded kind of a taste. But this product is a tribute to the food scientists in our company and our product developers. And do you remember Alejandra Castellon? She's the Hispanic girl with the wavy hair. Like, she's our food scientist girl, and she's got some also people on her team. So it was a great job. So if I'm sharing this product, I'm sharing it's got a stable form of that folate that you love, and that nutty taste, that's going to remind you that it's coming from a natural source and that it's stable. Okay, here's some more kind of interesting stuff that might be interesting as you share it with friends. This is a graph. They do these huge surveys in the US like every 10 years or so, USDA. And here's a graph that shows the percent of adults that are not meeting the recommended daily allowance of nutrients every day. What does this graph tell you? I know, I told you I'd never share a bar graph with you. But look at this. Zinc. It shows that females, that's the burgundy color there, 80% or more are not getting enough zinc every day. Isn't that crazy? If you look at the B vitamins, it's not quite as high, but it pretty much shows that most people don't get enough, right? So something like this helps people to appreciate that a change is needed and that they need to maybe make a shift in their life. And you guys probably love Master Formula. I know I take Master Formula every day. But not everyone likes capsules, and not all of your friends will, and maybe not their kids. This is a great gateway supplement, right? All right, here's, for those of you who are maybe even more technically inclined, Alejandra mentioned this, but the next thing I'm going to tell you is an example of a new science story that you can apply to products that you already know that are in the multivitamin category, right? We know it's a little more complicated, but I invite you to go to my Facebook page if you sort of want more details about these things, because I often write about this. We have about 30 vitamins and minerals. Now, I often ask even scientists and doctors, what do the vitamins and minerals do? What are they there for? Like, are there these magical things that just help your body to grow or be healthy? And I usually get kind of like, oh, I can't remember my undergraduate biochem. Can you refresh my memory? I'll refresh your memory as well. Like, we have enzymes in the body that are responsible for catalyzing all of the biochemical reactions of life. Like, there's thousands of these enzymes. And they're like little Pac-Men. Their job is to sort of catalyze a chemical reaction. They are proteins, little globular proteins that are gene products. But here's the thing. They don't have teeth. They don't have, the active site needs a cofactor. The vitamins and minerals are the cofactors. And as Alejandra described, the B vitamins, for example, they help you, they actually extract energy from the food that you eat. So they are cofactors for the enzymes that help you to turn that food into energy. But they are also cofactors, the B vitamins are also cofactors for the enzymes that repair DNA. Oh, where did that picture go? Can you guys show the DNA? There you go, all right. So this is kind of just a depiction of how, see, each of those workers is holding a tool. Their job is to repair DNA. But if you take that tool out of the hand of the enzyme, he can't do the job. That's what the B vitamins are doing. Now, your body says, what do you need today to keep you alive? Do you need energy to chase after children or to cross the road to avoid being hit by a car? Or do you need DNA repair? What's the most important thing? The body says, well, if you don't have quite enough B vitamins, then I'm going to give it to you so that you can stay alive today. At what expense? If you're marginally deficient in B vitamins, what's going to happen? You'll have the energy because your body is smart. It says, well, you need to survive today. You need to live to fight another day. You need to be able to track down your food, run away from predators. But if you don't have quite enough, then the DNA repair is going to have to wait. What happens if your DNA gets damaged and is not repaired? Don't say it, because there's probably a lawyer in the room. But I'm just saying it's not good, right? It's not good for your future health. So it usually boils down to staying alive today at the expense of aging really well. So this, Inner Boost and Balance is a great insurance policy to make sure that you get what you need today and your health will be good for tomorrow. All right, so as I mentioned, I talk about this stuff a lot on my Facebook page, so you're welcome to follow there. It'll look like that, me and Crystal in Australian cowboy hats, okay? And, all right, let's talk about the next product. This is my joke. This is why we actually never have food products in our chemistry lab, because sometimes you mix up the amoebic dysentery culture with the Inner Boost and Balance sample. Okay, sorry, some science humor there. But look at the guy's eyes. Look at the guy who just realized he's drinking amoebic dysentery instead of Inner Boost and Balance. That's priceless. All right, let's look at another product story. Okay, today we were introduced to this, right? The phytonutrition. What did you think about that? I thought it was great because last year we introduced Deep Spectra and it was really a concept and we gave you some sort of trial products and a lot of people said, yeah, I have no clue what to do with this. Well, the future is really to put it into products, right? Because it's bringing more of the plant in. So all of those things, it's a street cred story, product integrity, it's a differentiated product. Let's get into this a little bit. Is there room? I was actually a little bit nervous to introduce this to you guys. Do you know why? We love Gary, and he was an innovator. And so who is this Mark Bartlett guy and his team to come and mess with what Gary has created? But I can assure you, if you ask yourself the question, if Gary was leading his research and development team today, would he sort of say, well, I'm getting close to my 60s or something, I don't know how old he is. Maybe it's time to just relax a little bit. Do you think he'd stay in his comfort zone or would he be pushing us to do new things? Yeah. And a lot of the breadcrumbs for Deep Spectra were left by Gary. So we were pushing the same way he would. And that's what this team has been doing. Now, looking at Gary, in his journey to become well, he didn't start with essential oils. He started with herbs and he started selling these products. And right, here's some early products here. Look at the read, Juvatone, herbal formula with trace minerals and herbal extracts. Do you see essential oils in there? There weren't. He started with herbal extracts and things, right? Look at Comfortone, herbal formula with apopectin, etc. So this was where he began. And the essential oils came a little later. So when you're talking about the herbal extracts, you're talking about plant-derived phytochemicals. Most of them are not in the essential oils. The essential oils have the aromatic part. So what I think is brilliant about what Gary did was he started to use essential oils in our products like Master Formula and Juvatone, all of those products, which I think is just brilliant. And no other company was doing that at the time, where we looked at herbal extracts and we said, well, what are these essential oil things? Poo-poo, there's no science, so we don't include it. But to me, it's like you're putting the whole plant together. It's a beautiful story. The aromatics that are lost when you're extracting with other things and the extracts. So here's examples of some of these plant-derived phytochemicals, and they're not necessarily making it into the essential oil. Here's the essential oil chromatogram, right? You're familiar with chromatograms? So this is kind of telling us those peaks are each like components, different essential components of an essential oil. Now you'll notice on the right side, deeper into the spectrum, I hope you saw what I just did. There's nothing there. And that's because this is a pure essential oil. So wouldn't it be brilliant? And this Gary always wanted to do this. How can we do essential oils and include more of the heavier molecules? You know what? It doesn't matter how long you leave the still on. Those heavy molecules will not evaporate into the oil. It just can't be done. So that's why we had to think of other ways of doing it. Because a nice symbolic GC trace of a potential innovation oil that Gary wanted looked like this, where you've got deeper into the spectra some of those plant molecules, heavier molecules that don't normally make it into the essential oil, right? And so I'm not going to go into too much more detail. My time is up. But I guess the question is then, where is this technology going? Well, it's not really for your diffusers. It might be for your skin, and it might be for oral, and it's certainly perfect. Look at that beautiful master formula right there. I take this every day. Do you see one of those capsules has got oils in it? Wouldn't it be better if we had our own Young Living technology that was deep spectra in that oil capsule? Maybe with frankincense that now has boswellic acids and other things. Who knows what the future holds? But in future, our nutrition products that involve essential oils will be better in the sense that they have more of the goodness of the plant in those essential oils, deep spectra. And you know what? The companies down the road or the other people who are trying to copy us this time can't copy us because this is patented technology. So I hope today that it's kind of giving you maybe some connections there, how to tell stories, how to maybe sort of choose a genre of the story that you would choose as you share science with your friends. Remember, you don't have to make it complicated. And this was Crystal talking to our neighbor. Don't be strangers. Okay, thanks everyone.